Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing? I hope that everybody is happy and healthy, and I hope that you're reading a really good book. If you do, then please let me know in the comments below. I am here today with a collective book haul video, which means that basically I want to show you all the books that I acquired in 2024, and I have about like 50 plus books here, as I am somebody who buys her books because I am building a book collection and home library. I have come up with so many different ways to buy my books cheaper, to buy my books on a good deal, and basically I want to add that value to today's video because I want to share these tips and I want to share these websites with you so that you can also save money. I want to ask you to look at this video as a book recommendations video. I am not necessarily encouraging you to buy. I am trying to encourage you, to read, because I feel like I truly have some amazing book recommendations here to give you today. Buying books is definitely not the priority right now. Your bills are. And you are a valid reader, whether you read one book, whether you own one book, or you read 1,000 books, you own 1,000 books. Today, I want to share the books with you based on the method that I used to purchase them. Except the two books that I am about to share here, because these are collector's edition. And guys, this is the first time in my life when I actually bought something that is a collector's edition, and I did that for my birthday. And for this very first book, this is Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I cannot even tell you guys how much this book means to me, like the entire series, but specifically the first book. So when I saw this, I was like, I am getting this for my birthday. Usually I don't buy books for my birthday because I buy books all the time. So, it's like nothing special to me for my birthday. But this one, this is truly something special. It looks amazing. Obviously, it's in this like black case. But then when you take it out, and I'm gonna do it like this because this is how it's gonna make sense. I mean, look at this, guys. Look at this beautiful gold foiling. It is insane. And that's there, obviously, Feyre. And when you open the book, then you can see Feyre and the wolf. And it is gorgeous. I don't know why, but I really like gold and gold foiling books. The inside is gorgeous as well. And then they included special prints everywhere, like with the chapter headers. I just adore this. When I saw this, I was like, this is something that I need to buy for myself, and I am so happy that I did. So this is the first book that I wanted to show you, my special birthday present. And then the second book, which is even more gorgeous, if I may say so. 5 Broken Blades by Mike Corland. This is a new release, and I don't know how or why, but they immediately came out with these beautiful sprayed edges. I mean, just look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? This is the bottom, this is the top, but that's not enough, because when you open up the book, I mean, my favorite colors like black and orange combined together. I mean, are you kidding me? This is insanely gorgeous. But again, gold foiling. I mean, are you kidding me? What a beautiful edition this is. And again, I have no idea why they decided to do this, but and this edition, I believe, is just a couple of bucks more expensive than the one without the sprayed edges and without this beautiful golden foiling. So gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous books. Okay, the next 3 books. These books I purchased from Blackwell's. This is not the first time that I mentioned Blackwell's in my videos, but for those of you who don't know, Blackwell's is basically a UK-based bookstore. It's like Barnes & Noble in the United States, and I truly adore them. I discovered them when I was in the UK last year. And when I want a specific UK edition, for example, this book, because I think that the UK cover is just more beautiful than the US one, or for example, when I want a paperback, because again, in the United States, usually new releases come out in hardback, and I don't really like hardback books. I usually can get the UK version, which is paperback, or if I just want something that's cheaper, because I believe that there are many books that are cheaper on the Blackwell's website, then I always go to that store, and taxes are included and they ship worldwide for free. They definitely ship to the United States for free. I mean, it is included in the price. So the 3 books that I got from them, and I will include the price on the screen for these books, so you know, you can see how much I actually saved by buying these books at the Blackwell's website. The first one is Emily Wilde, Map of the Otherlands. I mean, I think that the UK cover is so beautiful, and I bought the first book from Blackwell's, the second book, and I already pre-ordered the 3rd book through Blackwell's, so you know, I can have the UK cover for all 3 books. I absolutely adore the Emily Wilde series, so gorgeous book. Then the other book that I also got from there is Funny Story by Emily Henry, because I wanted the paperback. All of my Emily Henry books are paperback, so you know, I wanted this to be the same. I don't know why. I mean, I in general don't like hardbacks, but when it comes to romance, I hate hardback romance books. I cannot stand them. So I ordered this one from Blackwell's, and by the way, they also have the UK cover for all the books in paperback, and usually they also have the US cover in paperback. So yeah, just go up on there and browse on the website. And then another new release that I got from Blackwell, simply because it was significantly cheaper there than in any other US stores, that is Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places. This is the newest release by Claire Kahn, and she is the author of The Romantic Agenda, and this is her 2nd book. And I mean, can you just look at that cover? I mean, don't you just immediately want to pick up this book when you see this cover? I am such a sucker for purple and any shades of purple that it's like, I am buying this book and I am reading this book, obviously. Okay, these next 4 books I bought online used. I love buying used books online, and these 4 are specifically from goodwillbooks.com. I only recently discovered that website, and I bought 2 Tessa Dare books from there, because when it comes to Tessa Dare and her books, her romance books, I love how the mass paperbacks look, but sometimes in bookstores or even on Amazon or like, you know, in any other online stores, you cannot necessarily get the mass paperback, but on that website you definitely can. And it's very easy to navigate that website, because you can just have a quick view and then look at the stocks that they have and the conditions that they have. I adore it, and you can buy some books there very cheap, and obviously you are supporting a very good cause. The 2 books that I got from there is Do You Want to Start a Scandal? This is, I believe, the 5th book in the Spindle Cove series, and I absolutely adore that series, one of my favorite series from Tessa Dare. And this one follows a side character from the book A Week to Be Wicked, which is my absolutely favorite Tessa Dare book, so obviously I had to pick this book up. And then the other book is When a Scot Ties a Knot. Now, I think you guys know why I picked up this book, because you know exactly how I feel about Scotland, how I feel about Scottish men, and how I feel about the Scottish accent. So yeah, I need this book in my life. And then the other 2 books that I picked up from that website are the Ice Planet Barbarian books, like from that series. I cannot even tell you. I think there are like 21 books out in that series, and I have already read like 5 of them maybe. I am not reading them in order, so don't ask me to tell you exactly which books I read, because like I cannot tell you, but I purchased these ones from the Goodwill's website as well. And honestly, I like these books. You know what? They are fun. They are a good time. And sometimes alien smut is just what I need. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, guys, it is so insanely hot today. It is crazy. So I'm sorry if I'm like melting, but you cannot even imagine how insanely hot it is right now in Boston. But I want to share more used books with you guys, and also one of the classics. And these books, every single one of them, I got from Amazon, but using their used book shopping, book buying option. And for a very long time I didn't really want to do that because I didn't understand how Amazon actually sourced these used books. And then I realized when I started, you know, looking at these used book options, that many of these are coming from independent online used booksellers. And I also looked it up online because I wanted to know how much money exactly Amazon takes from these online booksellers. And I believe, and this is just based on my research, I never sold, you know, a book on Amazon, but I believe that they take only 20% from these booksellers. So I think that it is still worth for these booksellers to sell on Amazon. And many of these booksellers are so amazing and they support such great causes. And you know, you can decide which one you want to buy from. There are online bookstores there who are supporting homeless people, they are employing homeless people, they are helping people who are going through rehabilitation, or for example, they exclusively employ people with disability. So depending on what you want to support, you will find an online bookseller there that you will feel comfortable purchasing from. So the books that I got from there, usually I buy like a lot of non-fictions and classics like this because I can just sit around and wait till they arrive, because it usually does take some time, like sometimes even 2 weeks. Like, you know, you have to wait for these books, but I have no problem with waiting, especially when it comes to non-fiction and classics. So yeah. But the books I got through Amazon used option. The first one is a classics novel, Heroes and Villains by Angela Carter. I want to read this book so bad. I never read anything by Angela Carter, and that is just unacceptable. So I think that this will be the first book that I pick up, and it's in insanely good condition. But just like on any other used websites, you can choose the condition that you want, right? And I usually go for like good, very good, or like new. So this one is in a fantastic condition. Okay, now the non-fictions that I got through the Amazon used option. The first one is a new release, A Molecule Away from Madness. And this book is specifically about brain chemistry, and I am so interested to read this book. It's insane. I love nonfiction, by the way. The next is All About Love by Bell Hooks, and I know that this is an insanely famous nonfiction book. I never picked it up, I never read it, but I really want to. I mean, this book is blurred by Gloria Steinem and Maya Angelou. So you know that this is a good book, and I cannot wait to get to this one. Next is also a book that is just so interesting, and that is It Ended Badly by Jennifer Wright. And this nonfiction book basically discusses 13 breakups that happened throughout history, starting with Emperor Nero from the Roman Empire and then ending in the 1950s in Hollywood. I'm like, yeah, I want to know. So that is on my list. And the next book, and this is from the same author, and I love the colors on the cover, by the way, and this is Get Well Soon. And this book apparently discusses the worst plagues that humanity ever had to fight. But it's not just about the plagues, but also about the people and the heroes who fought them and ultimately, like, you know, cured and saved the lives of many people out there. It just sounds so good. Like, you know, when it comes to nonfiction, it doesn't always have to be Sapiens. That book is my Mount Everest, and it doesn't always have to be 500 and 600 pages long. Reading nonfiction actually can be really fun. And wow, Now that I am looking at the next book, I'm like, I am questioning myself. Can it be fun reading nonfiction? Because the next book that I bought, and honestly, like, I kind of feel bad about it. I kind of feel that I regretted buying this book, but at least it was cheap, so it's fine. But that is The Song of the Cell by Siddhartha Mukherjee. I believe that this is his newest release, and Siddhartha Mukherjee is like such a famous scientist, and honestly, like, it's insane what this guy has achieved in his life. And when it comes to his books, it's more like an obligation that I feel towards his books, because considering my occupation, I feel that I should read his books. But his writing style is very, very hard for me to digest, because I feel that his writing style is just insanely pretentious. So I am having a hard time with his books, but I bought it and eventually I will get to it. I'm just not super enthusiastic about reading it, but... And then the other two nonfiction books that I have left is Greatest Invention by Celia Ferrara, and this book basically discusses the world history in 9 very famous scripts, and these scripts are super old. I believe that this book has one of the earliest scripts, like from Mesopotamia and Egypt, and this is something that sounds so interesting to me. And also the book has the scripts, the pictures of the stones and the scripts themselves. So this is something that is very, very, very interesting to me. So I bought this book. And then the last one, because I am somebody who reads a lot of self-improvement books, I have nothing against self-improvement books, The Daily Stoic. This is kind of a chunker, but when I read nonfictions, most of my nonfiction books, I don't just sit down and read them in one sitting. Usually I just snack on them. I read a couple of pages here and there every day. And this book, because this book contains 366 meditations, basically the plan for me to read it is just to read a page every single day throughout the year. And I think that that is exactly how this book was designed. And I have 4 more books here that I bought through the same method through Amazon Used, but these are not nonfiction. We have romantasy, historical fiction, and also fantasy and sci-fi books. So, the first one is Fortuna Sworn. I think that this book is a romantasy book. This is the first book in a series. Honestly, considering how many fantasy series I am in the middle of, I'm not sure that I should start a new series in 2024, but when it comes to romantasy, fantasy, romance, romantic fantasy, I just cannot be stopped. I just cannot be stopped. I don't know what to say. Next is The Raven Boys. Again, a fantasy series that I really want to start in 2024. I have no idea why. I know that this book was super famous and popular when it came out, and there are so many people out there in the book community who are raving about this book, and it's FOMO. That's what it is. It's FOMO. I want to know what this whole rage is about. So I also picked up this book. Next is The Lost White Rose by Alison Weir, and this is a historical book that is about Elizabeth of York, who was the wife of King Henry VII, and then, the mother of Arthur, and then King Henry VIII. And I love the Tudors. I love the Tudor era, and I love reading historical books. So I picked up this one in amazing condition. And last but not least, I picked up a P.D. Gilly Clark book. I always forget the title of this book, The Black God's Drums. I adore his writing and his writing style. I've read many short stories from him, and A Master of Jinn is on my TBR card. I definitely want to read more books from him, but that universe, I'm not really sure that that's working for me. So I just picked up this book from him because I think that he's like so talented. So this is also something that I bought used, and oh my god, I think I paid $3 for this book with free shipping. I mean, it is a super tiny book, but still. Okay, the next 3 books. These books I actually picked up from little free libraries. Honestly, if you have the time, just go and try to search your little free libraries in the neighborhood. I think that they are such fantastic community feature, and I love supporting little free libraries. And every now and then I find a book there that is just like, wow, I want to read this book. Okay, so the 3 books that I got from these little free libraries. Light from Uncommon Stars. And this book is apparently a sci-fi book, and it has been on my TBR for the longest time, and I really need to get to reading this book. I was so happy when I found this book. I think I vlogged the experience, so you guys can go and watch the video and like see my reaction. This is one of them. And then also, this sounds so good, Lagoon by Ineri Okorafor. I feel like I'm botching the author's name, but she is a very famous sci-fi author, and this book specifically about first contact with aliens. And ever since I binge watched The 3 Body Problem on Netflix, I'm picking up books and I am buying books and getting books left and right that are discussing first contact with aliens. So this is one of them. And then the last book is The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. And I believe that this is more like a dark academia book. It's got something to do with tarot cards, and it takes place in New York at the Met. Like, say less, say less. I am picking this book up. I mean, I took it out of the little free library, so technically it was for free. And also, I have 2 books here that were kindly gifted to me by my neighbor. My neighbor is a book reviewer. That's her job. So she receives a lot of book packages and a lot of ARCs, and every now and then when she doesn't like something, or she doesn't have the time to read it, or she just like, you know, thinks that I would be interested in it because she knows that I'm a huge reader, then she gives me a couple, and I love that. I love that. So one of the books that she gave to me is The Idiot by Elif Batuman, and I actually had 2 copies of this book. One of them I on hold because obviously I don't need 2 copies, but this is a book that I am so interested in because this book takes place in Boston at Harvard University, and also we have a Hungarian side character, and apparently we also go to the Hungarian countryside in this book, so I cannot wait to get to reading this book. Probably I will do it in the fall because it's kind of got some dark academia feeling to it. I'm not sure. If you read this book, please let me know in the comments below if it's actually like a good book. I think it is because it was a Pulitzer Prize finalist, okay? And I am not going to fight the experts. And the next book that I got from her is If You Can't Take the Heat, and this is an ARC book, and this is from the author Geraldine de Routier, and I am hoping that I am not botching her name. And this is what the subtitle says: Tales of Food, Feminism, and Fury. I mean, basically my 3 favorite things in life. Say less, say less. I am going to read this book, and I love the cover. Look at the cover. Just love it. Okay, so the remaining of the books that I have to show you guys, these are books that I either picked up from bookstores or I bought them new from Amazon, because I have a lot of new releases here. I read a lot of new releases. I cannot help it. I just get so excited when it comes to new releases, and nobody can beat the price of Amazon. Okay, and they are not just like $1 or $2 cheaper. Sometimes you can save like easily 50% when you buy new releases through Amazon. So, you know, Amazon can afford it because it's a huge company to give you books cheaper. So when it comes to new releases, and often when I pre-order books, I get them through Amazon. Okay, the 4 books that I actually got from an independent bookstore, the most beautiful bookstore that we have here in Boston, and that is the Beacon Hill bookstore and coffee shop. I vlogged the whole experience. You guys have to see that bookstore. It is so, so, so gorgeous and my inspiration for my future home library. Okay, I love supporting that bookstore. And the 4 books that I bought there, one of them is A Week to Be Wicked by Tessa Dare. They had the mass paperback version of this book, and this is my favorite book from Tessa Dare, so that's all I'm saying. The next is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful edition of Pride and Prejudice, which is my favorite Jane Austen book out there. And this book is just beautiful. When I saw it in the bookstore, I was like, you are coming home with me. I love the gold foiling. I love the size. When it comes to classics, I like when they are a little bit more compact. And I love the inside of the book. And I like the font and the font size. Because it's not one of those non-fiction books that you have to read like this, because it's like printed like this small. So it was like, you are coming home with me, okay? And then I also bought the newest release from Abby Jimenez. I never read anything that this woman has written, but I know the rage. I know that everybody adores her books because apparently she writes like beautiful romances and beautiful relationships, and her books are very, very deep. So I cannot wait to get to reading that book. And the last book that I bought at that bookstore is Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. And guys, I'm not gonna deny that this was a partial cover buy. Again, I know that this book is super, super, super popular. And when you go up on Goodreads, this book is like 4 point something. I'm like, wow, this must be a really good book. But it was a partial cover buy. I mean, look at the daisies on the cover. I cannot wait to get to reading this book. I mean, in general, when it comes to my book, like I cannot wait to read them all. I just don't have enough time, guys. In January, something really special happened to me. I finally read Cruel Prince. And this book is so good. I adore this book. I love this book. And after picking this book up and reading that book, I decided that it is time for me to read the entire Elfhame universe. And that is exactly what I did. I bought The Wicked King. In my humble opinion, this was not as good as The Cruel Prince, but it was still a really good book. I bought the 3rd book in the trilogy, The Queen of Nothing. I adore this one. I know that it's an unpopular opinion because people don't like this book. I actually adored it. I think it was a lot more similar to The Cruel Prince than the 2nd book in the series. And then I also picked up the spin-off series, starting with The Stolen Heir. I also loved that book, and the new release in 2024, The Prisoner's Throne. And I also love this book. And I think that this is the book that I decorated because this book is so beautiful inside and out, and I had to color one of the chapter headings. Yeah, I colored the first chapter heading. It's just so beautiful. I am freaking obsessed with this series. I still have one more book and short stories to read from this universe, but what Holly Black did in this series, okay. Some other really, really famous new releases that I picked up. The first one, of course, is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. We all know that Divine Rivals is one of my favorite books of all time, a holy grail book for me, so obviously I had to pre-order Ruthless Vows. Unfortunately, this book did not really work for me. In my opinion, it was not as good as the first one. It just couldn't keep up, but regardless, of course I had to read it. I am here for this series, and I am here for whatever Rebecca Ross comes out with next, because the lyrical writing in this book, it's crazy. Next, of course, I had to buy this beautiful, beautiful chunker, House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. Now, unfortunately, this book was something that also let me down, and I think I included this book in 2 of my videos. I was so insanely disappointed by this book, unfortunately, but of course we had to like read it, like no question there. When Sarah J. Maas comes out with something, I'm just gonna eat it up. Next is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Isn't this the most insanely gorgeous book that you've ever seen in your life? Look at that cover. Look at those black sprayed edges. This is my first Leigh Bardugo book. I've never read anything from her, but honestly, considering that this book is historical and this book also takes place kinda in the Tudor era, but not in England, but in Spain, and this is a fantasy standalone, say less, say less. I am buying this book, I am picking up this book, and I am reading this book. Next is a book that is described similar to The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. A Short Walk Through a Wide World by Douglas Westerbeek. And the author is a debut author and he is a librarian. So I was like, you know what? I really want to support him. And look at that gorgeous cover. And the fact that apparently it is similar to The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. I mean, again, say less. I am picking this book up. Now, usually I am very skeptical when it comes to, like, you know, the blurbs and comparing books to other books, because like we all know that they are just trying to get us to get the book. So, you know, I am very careful with that, but I just have a good feeling. I have a good feeling when it comes to this book. So this is also something that I picked up. And then the next new release that I picked up is The Djinn Waits 100 Years by Subnam Khan. And I knew I had to pick up this book when I read a little bit about the author, because the author is South African and her books take place in South Africa. And I'm like, have I ever read a book, like a fiction book from somebody who's South African? Because I read the memoir of Trevor Noah, but you know, that's a memoir, not like a fiction book. And then I listened to a couple of her interviews on YouTube and I'm like, oh my God, this woman is like so intelligent. Like I really want to support her. So I want to know what she did in this book. Can we look at that cover? Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. And then 3 more new releases that I have here. One of them is Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. We all know how I feel about Ellie Hazelwood, right? Some of her books are total hits. Some of her books are misses for me. And I must say that this book was really good. I enjoyed this book very much. Now, do I need to know certain aspects of werewolf anatomy? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But we all know that Ellie Hazelwood likes to write smut. And honestly, she writes smut very well. So there you go. I think that there will be another book in this series, and I am definitely also picking that one up. The next book is a horror book that was also a new release this year, This Wretched Valley by Jenny Kiefer. And first of all, look at that cover. Of course I want to buy this book. And also this book was inspired by the Dyatlov incident, and I read a non-fiction book about the Dyatlov incident because it is just something that's so intriguing, and it feels wrong to say that it is intriguing because like truly some terrible things happened to these 11 Russian hikers who set out in the 1950s to hike, and then unfortunately they died under mysterious circumstances in very gruesome ways, and this book was inspired by that. So of course I had to buy it and read it. Ultimately I did not really like this book, but it was a good time. It was fine. Next new release is The Ladies Rewrite the Rules by Susan Allen. And do you see a trend here? Books with purple and like lilac covers. Yes, I am buying all those books, especially if they are new releases. When I bought this book, I was in the mood to read a cutesy Regency era romance, and that is exactly what this book is. And like all of her books, it is like, you know, with a feminist twist. I very much enjoy this book, and honestly I recommend. Okay, now the next set of books, these are backlist books that I want to read. I am so interested in them, and some of these books I already finished and I adore them. The first two books, Lore Olympus. The first two books in the Lore Olympus graphic novel series. And this was my first time reading a graphic novel. And honestly, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I adore this graphic novel series and I cannot wait to read every single volume. I think we have 6 volumes out. I adore it. I like that it is so light and fluffy, but also it discusses some pretty serious issues. There are some really heavy topics discussed in this book. So, you know, it's also got some depth to it. I absolutely adore them. Next is the book that got me out of a reading slump. And honestly, so far, possibly the favorite book that I read in 2024, and that is regrettably I Am About to Cause Trouble by Amy McNee. This book is just so good. First of all, it takes place in the 1500s in England, so again, Tudor era, and we have a super funny female main character who is also like kind of like a witch. I don't know what else I have to say so that you pick this book up. Insanely good. Next is Dawn by Octavia E. Butler. I never read anything from Octavia E. Butler, and that is a situation that I need to change, especially again since I binged watched The Three Body Problem. I am here for all sci-fi books that discuss first contact with aliens, and this book was written in 1987. Whoa, I want to know what the rage is about because everybody adores Octavia E. Butler's writing, rightfully so. I just never read anything from her, so again, FOMO. Next is a book that was, again, a cover buy for me, and that is The Whispering Dark. Now this book, can we just look at the cover? It's lilac. It's got a plant on it. I am a plant mom and I especially adore flowers, so there you go. And I'm not sure that you can see that the flowers are actually little skulls. I mean, this is all I need to buy your book, okay? Apparently this book is kind of like a dark academia book that takes place in Boston, and there are paranormal elements to it. So say less, say less. And the next is a T. Kingfisher book, A House with Good Bones. Now when it comes to T. Kingfisher, I adore her fantasy. I think that her fantasy books work better for me personally than her horror books. But this one, can we look at the cover again, and that voucher there? I bought this book because I wanted like this cover before they came out with that atrocious paperback. Like I don't like that. I don't want that. So I wanted this book, and I already read this book, and I actually really like this book. When it comes to T. Kingfisher, like this woman has such a dark, twisted mind, and the way she approaches feminism, I love it. I love it. I love everything from this woman. Okay, oh, not true. Some of her horror books don't work for me, but this one did. I recommend this one. Next is also a book that really surprised me, and this book has become one of my favorite books in 2024 so far, and that is A Dreadful Splendor by B.R. Myers. This is a historical, gothic, paranormal investigation, murder mystery, like romantic suspense book. I don't even know how to describe it because it is so special. And again, it surprised me. This is such a good book. It was a cover buy, kinda, and also it was super cheap when I picked it up. I think it was $5.99 in a bookstore, and I was like, yeah, I want to read this book. I want to read this book. And wow, what a book this was. And last but not least, the final book, Happy Place by Emily Henry. I didn't get to read Happy Place by her last year, and I feel that I missed out on something because when it comes to Emily Henry, I just adore her writing and her characters so much. I like that her characters are very mature, you know, and her books are truly so amazing. I mean, she is a best-selling author for a reason. I don't have to come here and sell her books to you guys. I just never read Happy Place last year, but I am really interested in this one as well as Funny Story. This book takes place in Maine, and I am traveling to Maine in the summer. I will spend the weekend there, so I am taking this book with me because I want to read this book in Maine in the summer. Oh wow, this is it, guys. This is the end of the video. I showed you 50 something books. Insane, insane. Now I hope that you found a couple of book recommendations in this video, and I also hope that you found the little tips and websites that I shared in this video useful. If you read any of these books, and if you've bought any of the books from the websites that I mentioned in this video, then please let me know in the comments down below. I definitely want to know your opinion. And also, if you have any good tips on how to buy, you know, books cheaper, if you know any websites that any of us could use to save some money, then again, please let us know in the comments below. Hit share, like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I have a lot of fun videos coming up. In the next couple of weeks, I am filming a summer reset vlog, and I am also filming new releases reading vlog and 24-hour reading challenges. So, you know, I have a lot of really good videos coming up. Now, in the meantime, if you want to check out any of my other videos, I will leave them on the screen, probably here and here. And I will see you soon in an upcoming video. Now, I'm just gonna go and put these 50 something books back to where they belong. So see you guys soon. Bye.